Okay, run the layout and the bench test went well, and I want to talk a little bit about lighting on the decoder before I finish up the install. And as you can see, I did install a 2mm LED directly to the decoder, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But Digitrax allows you to install lighting on your decoder for your locomotive a few different ways depending on your application and what kind of lighting effect that you want. To start, if you're using the front two tabs for a front headlight, the middle two pads also for a front headlight, which is good if you're doing a Kato locomotive, or the back two tabs for a rear light, you do not need to use a resistor if you're using LEDs. The resistor is already built into the decoder, and one is not necessary unless you want to change the intensity of your light. If you're using these pads here, which is functions 1 through 4, and using this for your positive, you will need a resistor for each LED that you install. That's simply using track power, and if you were to hook up an LED to that, or even a bulb to that, without the resistor you'll simply blow it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my throttle, and let me get it set here. And I'm going to hit the, there it is. Just the F0. That turns that on and off. So what I'm going to do next is desolder that LED real quick. I'm going to run some wires to it, and we're going to put a set of them here in the front on the short hood, and a set here in the back on the long hood. Okay, so here's what it looks like with one of the LEDs attached. I've simply shortened up the leads going to the LED, soldered in some wires, and repositioned those wires where the LED wasn't before onto the decoder. And here's what it looks like with the second LED installed. And all I've done, instead of running a whole other set of wires from the decoder, is I've simply daisy chained them from the first LED onto the second LED. And this will give me two LEDs to get the two, and I'm looking at the long hood right now, the two lights that'll be right in there. And all I'm going to do past that is do the same thing on the front for the front two. And the only thing to really keep in mind is on your primary lead, make sure you got some length in there so you've got enough room to reach where they go in the back, and when you have the shell off you've got some flexibility so it's not real tight up towards the decoder. And just for fun, this is what it would look like if you wanted to use one of the function leads. Here's the LED and the resistor, and here's where you plug it in for function 1 on the board. The blue wire going to the what they call a common positive, and the red wire going to the far pad. In this case, this is function 1, and this could be used for, oh, I don't know, ditch lights. These could be used for a rotary light, beacon light, any other kind of lighting effect that you want to use it for. Okay, here's what it looks like with the shell back on. The LEDs have been installed into the headlight housing. Sometimes you need to take those and trim them down just a little bit to size. These just kind of pop right in. It was not often, but just happened to be the right size this time. You're free to use whatever kind of adhesive you like, double-sided tape, CA glue, regular plastic glue, by testers, you know, whatever works for you. And here's what it looks like when you turn it on. And the same thing is done on the other side. Okay, the next set of units are all by Kato. The top 4 BNSF units all have Soundtrack Tsunami decoders in them, and the bottom one has a Digitrax decoder in it. The top 3 have model TSU KT1000, and it's a plug-and-play drop-in decoder, again for Kato. This SD40 has just a TSU1000, and it has a little bit different setup for the ditch lights that are there in the front. And since I'm running out of time, I'm going to pull this one out and I'll try to talk about it in another video. This bottom Chicago Metra has a Digitrax SDH164K1C. I'm going to pop that one open and show it to you here real quick. Okay, so here's what the AC4400 looks like with the TSU KT1000 decoder. And here's what the Chicago Metra F40PH looks like with the Digitrax decoder. They both have pretty much the same setup. You can go with either manufacturer. The install is going to be pretty much identical, depending on what your preference is in decoder. All you're really going to do, as you can see I've already had it done, but I'll review it real quick, is there's a light board that sits on top of here. There's two screws that come out, one here and the other one's hiding up in here somewhere, but there's two screws. There's some wire clips. This one has a little post that comes up on either side. This one has wires that clip on there. Either way it's the same thing. You have two posts or leads that come from the motor that go into these two holes. Again, the same on both models there. You pop those out, you put the new board in, you pop them back in, and you're ready to go. This one I went with Soundtrax because I like the way the decoder functioned. I like how it ran on the layout, and I really enjoy the way it sounded. And it sounded better than the custom sound project that I had built for the AC4400. This one, I was really happy with the sound project that I had for the F40. So I was able to put that in here. I have a really nice sounding horn. And this also has some leads built into here that I can take and put LEDs and resistors onto if I ever want to go back and add flashing ditch lights, Mars light, rotary light, all that stuff on the front of the locomotive. You can do that to a point with these. You can add a couple of LEDs to the front of this on either side here, again with a resistor. But you only have two functions. Where here I think I've got well, however many colors wires I have minus the blue for the common. So that's why I went with it on that one. Well, there you have it. There's everything I've been working on the last few months. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more DCC videos and layout updates.